Hi there, and welcome to Art from the Cottage. I hope you all have a really good new year and that it's very creative for you this year. And thank you so much to my subscribers for subscribing to me. I tend to start with the sky, usually, because that's where most of the work is involved with the sky. So I like to start with it so that I can, put some paint on and get it to dry. So today's colours are sap green, violet, yellow, white, cream, burnt umber, raw sienna, and black. And any colours that I get are derived from some of those colours. So I mix all my colours, in other words. I don't just put, say for instance, the violet. I don't just put on violet. I will mix it with a little bit of white and a little bit of black, usually, something like that. Darken it down, use some of that, and then lighten it and use some of that. And that's how I work. So I'm starting to put in the rough sketch in paint, just where I want the feels to be, and it doesn't really matter about the colour at the moment because it's just a layer and there'll be many, quite a few layers going on there. So I'm just putting in where I want the darker green and the paler greens and yellows in this painting. So I'm putting in the foreground at the moment and I'm using dark greens and raw umber, some burnt umber, just all the earthy colours. Now, I could have used the texture, but I didn't in this one. I've shown you how to do texture in other paintings. So this one, I'm going to keep it very smooth and leave it at that. So at the moment, I'm putting in where I want the trees to be in the far distance, just a dark, just an outline, just to give me an indication of placement, really, just so I can see what it looks like. And I've mixed a lovely olive green. That's what I wanted to use in this for these trees that I'm going to put in. And I just put the trees in with my fan brush, and I can always come back to those, you see. I can come back and refine them. And I used sap green and black and a bit of yellow until I got it to the right shade of olive green that I wanted. The sky is probably almost finished. There's just some highlights to put in the cloud, and I think there's about 3 layers on that cloud, 3 or 4, possibly more. But by the time I finish, there'll be about 6. So that gives you an indication on, the amount of paint that's in these paintings. So you'll see that I'm going backwards and forwards. I work on the sky a little bit, and then I'll go to the foreground a bit, and then I'll go to the middle of the painting. And all the time, I'm doing that the whole time I'm painting because I'm letting each section dry in between. I mean, you can always use a hairdryer as well, but that's the way I work. I go from, section to section and let them. I look at the painting as if it's in sort of 3 bands, really: sky, horizon, and foreground. And that's how I work with the painting. So I'm back working on the sky, and I'm just putting in some highlights into the cloud. the sky is coming along nicely. There's not that much work to do on the sky at the moment. And at this stage, remember to have a very small amount on your brush. You don't want to fill your brush with paint. You just have a tiny amount on and blend it. So it's amazing what you can do with these paintings, with the colours and the shadows. You can make them look like early morning. You can make them look like a summer's day. Um, this one is a classic English landscape, and you can see that the sky is trying to hang on desperately to that beautiful cerulean blue, but the shadows in the sort of mid ground and foreground are telling you that it's trying to become the end of the day. And now I'm putting in some, I'm trying to lighten up that foreground a little bit and lighten the yellow. And I'm also putting in a little bit of the violet because I'm giving the impression that the violets or the lavender, I should say, is in the distance, and I'm starting to put in some of the lavender into the foreground as well. So there'll be quite a few coats of paint going on. I'll do some lavender, I'll put in some blues, and I'll put in some burnt umbers, and you know, just to make that foreground look like it's bursting with shapes and colours. So I'm laying down the colour, and I'm also putting my brush through it, the end of my brush, to give the impression of stalks and, you know, stalks in the lavender and grasses and things like that. I want it to be loose. I don't want it to be tight. And, you know, I'm an impressionist painter. I'm not a realism painter. I don't do realism. I just do soft impressionist, I call it. So at this stage, really, it's just putting on layers, exactly as I've done before, and shapes. And you see there, I'm putting some dark shapes into that sort of bank in the foreground of the painting. And you'll also notice that if you look at the cloud on the right-hand side, where I've highlighted the cloud, you'll see that underneath it, it's almost in the middle of the painting on the horizon. I put some light, yellow, because the light is shining down in that area. The light's coming from the right and it's shining in that area. I haven't put the light on everything, but just in that one little key area to suggest that the light is actually fading. And apart from just some finishing touches, as I always do, here I'm just putting in some highlight in the cloud, and just very carefully, gingerly, really, putting it on the very edges and then blending it down slightly so that it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. And we're almost at the end of the painting. And I really hope that you've enjoyed it and that you'll have a go at it, those painters out there. Some people like to watch and just see me create a painting, and other people will probably have a go at it. So, as I say, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I would be thrilled if you gave me a thumbs up if you like the painting, and it would be lovely as well if you decided to subscribe to my channel. And if anybody is interested in purchasing one of my paintings, I provide a link in my About, which is on my main channel page. You'll see I've got some links there to my art galleries. So with that, I'll say thank you so much and bye for now. And as always, love from Cornwall.